November 26th was Native American Heritage Day, a time for America to honor and celebrate Native Americans. I have some commentary about that, so stay tuned.
Welcome to Lean to the Left, home of no-holds-barred commentary, plus interviews with fascinating people, some of them top experts, others simply with interesting stories to tell. You'll never know who'll show up at Lean to the Left, the podcast from notfakenews.biz. Now here's your host, Bob Gaddy.
There's no better time than Native American Heritage Day for the Waccamaw Indian people of South Carolina to be officially recognized as a federal Indian tribe, making them eligible for all of the benefits accorded to the 574 tribal nations in America. It's time for these invisible people to take their rightful place among these tribal nations and be positioned to benefit from many of the provisions contained in President Biden's newly signed Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, which invests over $3 billion in native health services, among other benefits. Centuries before European explorers arrived, ancestors of today's Waccamaw Indian people lived a quiet life, hunting with bows, arrows, and spears, and collecting plants for food and medicine in the low country of South Carolina. Natives were captured and enslaved, farmlands and hunting grounds taken away. Some starved and died from diseases brought to this land by those explorers. But the Waccamaw Indian people persisted and were officially recognized as a tribe on February 17, 2005, by the state of South Carolina, meeting the state's stringent requirements for tribal recognition. In South Carolina, a state-recognized tribe has status similar to that of a county. Other than eligibility for some grants and acknowledgement under the law, state recognition is merely an acknowledgement that they, their society, their culture, and their ancestors have been and remain an integral part of this state's history and citizenship. However, a federal regulation that is impossible for the Waccamaw Indian people to meet has prevented them from attaining recognition by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and thus means that they are ineligible for the protections and benefits accorded other tribes under the law. It also means that the Waccamaw Indian people cannot obtain the return of their ancestors' remains currently stored in federally funded museums, and so they cannot be properly buried according to Indian tradition and provided the human respect that they deserve. This is an inhumane travesty. As a result, the very governments that the Waccamaw Indian people support with their tax dollars and that they defended with their blood denies them such basic rights as the right to practice the religion of their choice and properly bury their ancestors. The government requires that the Waccamaw show an unbroken lineage from its members today to known Waccamaws at first historic times. However, the BIA does not define that term, and it ignores the fact that there were no written records from those times and thus no way to prove lineage. Waccamaw Chief Harold Hatcher explains that before the Europeans arrived, the Waccamaw Indian people had no written language. There were no courthouses, no birth, death, marriage certificates, he says. There was no means of recording who their members were, who their council members or headsmen were. Names changed throughout their lives. Upon birth, parents gave the child a name. When they became of age, they often chose another name. If they wanted to show honor to someone, some would take a portion of their name, but in no case were any of the names recorded. In fact, Chief says, there was no need to record individual names and no way to do that. The name of the tribe might have been recorded, and occasionally the name of a headsman was written. But even then, a European name often was used as a nickname for the leader, such as Little Charlie, Big Nose Bob, or Green Toe Bill. But there would be no linkage to the Indian's actual name. Consequently, it is impossible for the Waccamaw Indian people of today to know any of the names of their ancestors from those early days, and no way for them to prove unbroken lineage from those historic times. Chief Hatcher calls it documentary genocide. Hatcher's efforts to obtain this information through repeated inquiries to the director of the branch in the Bureau have been unsuccessful. Moreover, repeated letters, news articles, and conversations with congressmen, senators, and even presidents, with the BIA, with governors, have been to no avail, the chief points out. Every political office holder in the country raises their hand to Almighty God and swears to protect and defend the Constitution of these United States. But in this instance, they are failing to do so because they are denying even the existence of a people with a proud heritage, a people who have fought and died for this country, and who simply are being ignored, he declares. Representative Tom Rice, the Republican from South Carolina, has sponsored a bill that would grant federal recognition to the Waccamaw Indian people, bypassing the federal regulations that currently stand in the way. However, the path to final approval by Congress is an arduous one, and other tribes, particularly those in the western United States, oppose the approval of new tribes because that would reduce their share of federal financial assistance. I vow to fight it as long as I breathe, says Chief Hatcher. This country owes my people their dignity. We ask for nothing special, but we will not accept less than our rightful place in history and society. I demand the basic rights as an American. Currently, award-winning videographer David Henshaw and I are finalizing a documentary video that will present the Waccamaw story and make the case for the Waccamaw Indian people to be federally recognized as an official Indian tribe. The viewer will discover the long history of the Waccamaw, learn about their lengthy battle for recognition, and the importance of this recognition for the Waccamaw of today and for generations to come. There will be a call to action asking viewers to contact their representatives in Congress to support Representative Rice's bill, to seek a change in the regulation that today makes federal recognition impossible, and to contribute to the effort to get the government's attention. The documentary is being partially funded by a grant from the state of South Carolina, and a GoFundMe campaign has been established. To support this initiative, please just check GoFundMe Waccamaw Indians, and you'll be able to contribute if you would like to do that. Meanwhile, our thanks to all those who already have contributed to this important project. Now stay tuned. I'll be right back after this brief message. Thanks, guys, for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you'll come back on a regular basis. We provide narrations of commentary published almost daily on notfakenews.biz, like this one, for example. But every Monday and sometimes on Thursdays, we're streaming newsmaker interviews, and we're going beyond the world of politics for many of them, presenting guests and topics that I hope you find interesting and enlightening. Streaming beginning Monday, November 29, will be our interview with Dr. Kimya Nuru Dennis, discussing the issues of racism in our society and what each of us can do. Check out notfakenews.biz too, where you'll find new material just about every day by some excellent writers with perspectives on a whole range of topics. You can sign up as a member at notfakenews.biz. And of course, it's all free. Also, let your friends know about the Lean to the Left podcast and take a minute to subscribe yourself. Just go to podcast.notfakenews.biz to subscribe. Check out the upcoming interview schedule and listen to all of our episodes. You can also support this podcast by clicking on the Donate tab at the top of the page, where you'll find links to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and also PayPal. Remember, our goal is to be informative and entertaining as we comment on the latest developments in the news. You guessed it, with just a little lean to the left. Now, this is Bob Gaddy signing off for Lean to the Left and NotFakeNews.biz.